Corla. Minister, my question is particularly relevant actually this week with some of the things that unfortunately we've seen in the news this week. So I am wondering what engagement you and your department have had with Tusla in relation to its struggles to respond to increased demand for its services, given that this increased demand, together with the complex needs of the children and young people presenting, has swamped the agency, and if you can make a statement on this matter, and particularly I'm thinking of the special emergency arrangements. Thanks, Minister.
Thanks very much, Deputy. The care and welfare of children in care is a priority for government, and I and my department were very much aware of the issues the Deputy has raised and continue to be the subject of focused and continued engagement between my department and Tusla at every level. As we know, Tusla is facing significant and ongoing challenges in sourcing appropriate placements for children in the care of the state. And this is due to a number of factors. It's due to difficulties in recruiting and retaining staff, difficulties in maintaining the number of foster carers, the complexity of the presentation of some children presenting to Tusla, and the unprecedented number of children, separated children seeking international protection that require Tusla services. And Tusla has also advised that referrals to the agency itself have increased 10% between 22 and 23, and they now stand at roughly 91,500 per year. And the challenges listed by the Deputy have also been the subject of commentary from a number of key stakeholders: the Ombudsman for Children, the Child Protection Rapporteur and the courts themselves. And Tusla have responded. In the first instance, they've published 3 strategic action plans for foster care, for residential care and for aftercare. And these include a range of actions the agency plans to undertake in order to increase capacity in alternative care and ensure that these services continue to meet the needs of children and their families. The strategic plan for residential care seeks to reduce reliance on private provision of residential care placements by creating a total of 110 new residential care placements by the end of 2025. I share the Deputy's concerns in relation to Tusla's current reliance on special emergency arrangements, SEAs. Tusla, supported my department, are working to reduce the reliance on SEAs, and in the interim, specific measures are being taken to promote and support the quality and safety of these placements. So my department is supporting the strategic plan for residential care and other measures to allow Tusla maintain and expand their services by securing additional funding in Budget 2024. Budget 2024 represented the largest single annual increase in core funding since Tusla's establishment, and Tusla, as we know, now has an annual budget of over €1 billion.
Thanks, Cathleen. Thanks, Minister. I know none of us in here want to see this situation happening. And we saw again yesterday in the Times another piece, and it's not the first time that there's been, I suppose, stuff like this in the news. And like last year, we had the retired Dublin District Court Judge Sims come out in relation to this. At that time, there was 130 children. So if it's a plan to deliver 110 places by the end of 2025, we're already way behind the curve, and I definitely think we need to start moving away from that private sector, because the idea of having profit mixed with vulnerable children, it's not going to work. But I do think the 2 areas we really need to look at and focus on are how we can support foster carers and how we can increase the amount of people that are willing to become foster carers, and what can we do around that. That sector has been very vocal, in fairness to them, on solutions. And the other thing is in relation to the recruitment and retention of social workers, which I'm going to run out of time, so I'll come back to that in my last minute.
Thanks very much, Deputy. You're absolutely right about the importance of moving away from private sector reliance, which is significant right now, and that's why I've put in the investment in Tusla this year so it can grow its own stock of residential placements. We're also looking at supporting the community and voluntary sector. I met them in January and discussed what they can do in terms of providing additional residential care places. And again, I agree with you on the point of foster care, and that's why we've taken significant steps this year to support foster care. By the end of this year, the foster care allowance will have grown by €75 per child. It grew by 25% on the 1st of January, and the remainder will come from the 1st of November. This will mean this year foster carers are getting €1,700 additional support per year, and by the end of 2025 that will have gone up to €3,900 additional per year. So a very necessary but a very real recognition of the hugely important role that foster carers play in terms of children in care.
So those measures were welcome, just to say that. But I suppose and maybe this already exists, but is there a forum or an opportunity for like representatives from the social work sector, Tusla, foster carers to sit down with yourself? Because while we all, and Tusla in fairness say this as well themselves, everybody says we can't have this and we need to end the special emergency places, but yet we still seem to end up having to resort to that. And I do understand in a crisis situation you have to provide a place for a child, but then, like, I even know some of this just from people that I deal with, it's just the worst situation for somebody, because it's mainly older teenagers who have come from a very difficult situation, very traumatic situation. Now all of a sudden you're in a hostel or a B&B or a hotel. It's just absolutely not what we want to see. And I welcome some of the measures that have been taken, but I just think there needs to be a greater sense of urgency in relation to it, and particularly in imagination around like the recruitment and retention of social workers. I mean, what are Tusla actually doing in relation to that, around trying to promote that? Are they going in, are they talking to transition year students? What are we actually doing? People who are already in place in Tusla that could kind of grade up, is that happening? I feel like all that's very, very slow and we need more urgency. Thanks, Claire.
Quite a few questions there. Just in terms of engagement with the sector, I've met on a number of occasions with IFCA, the representative body for foster carers, and also with Movement for Change, which is a new representative body there, and discussed the increase in funding. And I met them after the budget, both of those organisations as well. In terms of bringing the wider sector together and facing the challenge of over-reliance on SEAs, the Children's Rights Alliance in the latter part of last year convened a group, including Tusla, including the Children's Ombudsman that fed in, and a lot of the direct providers. So they're doing a report in terms of residential care right now and where the priorities are, and setting out key recommendations. And I'll be expecting to see that in the next number of weeks, and I think that will be an important document. I look forward to working on that. In terms of increasing the number of foster carers, a lot of work is, social workers apprenticeship programme will be kicking in from September of this year. So for the first time we'll be training social workers via an apprenticeship model, which I think is a new and important innovation, and a significant number of Tusla social care workers are being sponsored to undertake social work degrees. So again, as you suggested there, kind of training people up within the organisation.